Big bro Marcellus.
Yes.
Put the gloves down.
Please, I don't like the fight. I told you that 1,000 times. Damn.
Should Aaron Rodgers be upset if the Packers don't get him help at the trade deadline?
No, he shouldn't be upset. Not at all. Aaron Rodgers, the veteran, some would even say GOAT, but certainly one of the greatest quarterbacks that we've seen in NFL history, should know better than to sit there and hold his breath hoping that they get some more talent at the receiver position. Let's talk about why he should think this way and why he should be in the know of that's not what's going to help them going forward. Aaron Rodgers was one game away from the Super Bowl last year, and a lot of people will walk away from that game, at least in the offseason, was saying, oh, they were one weapon away from that game and winning it against the 49ers. Really? Were they? Because last time I checked, receivers don't even dictate Super Bowl success. But what happened in that game was the running game that dictated the success for the 49ers. To the tune of 220 yards by Raheem Mostert, 4 touchdowns, brother, and 285 rushing yards in that same game that they got drugged in. That same game, Aaron Rodgers went 31 of 39, 326 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Aaron Rodgers wasn't one weapon away. Aaron Rodgers almost had a clean, damn near perfect game. They went against a team that they couldn't stop the run against. And if you want to address it in this trade deadline, address a run defender. Address the defensive side of the ball if you want to go anywhere. But if you talk about the weapons on offense, it's unnecessary. Let's have a little fun right here. Talk about the top receivers, let's say since 2010, our era right now. Since 2010, Aaron Rodgers basically starting in 2008. Let's go with this. The 2010 receivers that are still active, the best of them. Julio Jones, Antonio Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, DeAndre Hopkins, A.J. Green, T.Y. Hilton, Nick Satterup. I can give you the top 10. Only 2 on this list. Golden Tate and Emmanuel Sanders even have championship rings. And in that Golden Tate performance, we saw him go in the Super Bowl, only have 17 yards catching. So if you look at it, receivers are not what you should put your bets on in terms of getting over a hump and having championship success. The best receivers are still ringless. So Aaron Rodgers is smart enough to know if we're going to do anything in the trade deadline, we're not a weapon away. We're a run defender away.
That's a fair argument, and Marcellus.
I noticed that fair for you means right. I've noticed that.
I wanted to put my gloves down this block, but again, I got to disagree with you. And it hurts my heart because a lot of what you said came from an educational standpoint, but it was a little misguided, sir.
Let's go.
When your quarterback's window is starting to close.
Yes.
We don't know how near the close it is, but when it's starting to close, you got to do everything you can to go all in. Let's look at Tom Brady last year with the Patriots. They tried to get Antonio Brown. It just didn't work. Made moves for Josh Gordon. It just didn't work. Let's look at Tom Brady this year. They gave him all the help that they could possibly give him. Let's talk about the Saints with Drew Brees. Tomorrow, they made sure to re-sign him. They did what they can because that quarterback's window is starting to close. You never know how long you're going to have with success. Again, I'm going to give you my casino analogies because that's where I stay.
All right.
So when you play in a hand of blackjack, when you play in a game and you dealing me, you're the dealer, I'm playing a game.
I'm the dealer.
If my shoe, but that's the hand as long as you can play it. Yeah. If it's going well, you don't know how long it's going to last. Yep. So you got to go all in and strike while it's hot. Because before you know it, bro, it could be a bad shoe. All that is it could be a bad run, a bad streak of cards. The Packers have to strike while it's hot because you never know when you're going to be this good again. You never know when Aaron Rodgers could get hurt. Devontae Adams could get hurt for longer. You don't know if you're going to be able to retain your superstar running back or your star left tackle. You got to capitalize in the moment. You got to capitalize while it's going good. That's the problem the Packers have made historically. That's the problem they're making again.
Here's the problem with that. The assumption, the premise is that Aaron Rodgers' window is closing. As Aaron Rodgers even told us, and he keeps telling us, I wasn't in decline. What the hell y'all talking about? What do you always quote and love? Oh, my worst season is some guy's career years. And then we had to go look back at the numbers and say, interesting, Aaron, you might have a point there. Then we look back to last season, and then we see them again with this early success. They were 5-1 last year. They're 5-1 again this year. Matt LaFleur is sitting there saying, my window's not closing, and I'm going to build a program for the long haul that can actually win a championship. So smart money, in your gambling analogy, is basically saying, not betting on a receiver. Look at the top. If you give me Julio Jones, you give me a ring, you give me a champion receiver. Look, how's that worked out for Julio Jones? This is no shots at the guys, but it just doesn't correlate. But If you want to do a correlation of top 10 quarterbacks, and let's see how many of them are ringless. Oh, let's go through it. Brady, Rodgers, Breeze, Roethlisberger, Wilson, Mahomes. Oh, I just kept naming rings of the top 10 that are playing now, but the top 10 receivers playing now, you don't see the rings. There's just not this correlation. There's a sizzle effect that makes you think, oh, if you got another guy on the outside with Devontae Adams, everything's going to work out. Not necessarily. This was a 13-3 bunch that ran against a brick wall called the 49ers because they couldn't stop the run. Jimmy G threw 8 passes, brother. You know what? That's not a receiver issue for Green Bay. That's a defensive issue that you need to go fix and make sure you have balance.
Here's the other thing I have to push back on you on.
Okay.
Insanity, sir. What's the definition?
Doing the same thing, expecting a different result.
Exactly. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result.
Okay.
The last 6 playoff losses that the Packers have, they're teams that they lost to in the regular season.
Yeah, that's real.
Let's look at it real quick. The last 6 playoff losses. Last year, the 49ers lost to them in the regular season, lost to them in the playoffs. 2016, the Falcons. 2015, the Cardinals. Y'all can read, I understand that. But just digest that. The last 6 playoff losses the Packers have, they lost to that team in the regular season. Kill the full screen, let's talk. Let me talk to my big bro
Talk to your dog.
The Packers have 1 loss this season, Marcellus. Who is it to?
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Well, is that a loss or is that a beatdown?
It was a beatdown.
Okay.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat them 38-10.
Yeah,
Last year, the 49ers beat the Packers in the regular season 37-8. More likely than not, the Packers are going to see the Tampa Bay Buccaneers again. Like the Packers saw the 49ers again last year.
I get that.
If you go back to that fight with no new weapons, if you go back to that same fight, we have seen 6 times historically that team will beat you again. The Buccaneers beat the Packers 38-10. The Packers basically saw it last year. You lost 38-7, go to the playoffs, and I think what you lose 27-10. I don't know off the top of my head. If the Packers don't make a move, Sal, they're going to see the exact same thing all over again like they've seen the last 6 years.
Yeah, okay, we're looking at the same thing differently. So let me help us out and give us some clarity on this. Aaron Rodgers' issue when he runs against the foes that he loses to in the playoffs, he's seen them before. And the thing is, what they don't fix is the fact that they can't defend against those same teams. Aaron Rodgers, the teams that he's lost against, we're talking about his 8 playoff losses, the average score given up is 38 points a game. What quarterback you know, and you're going to walk out on the field and say, yeah, I'm going to put up over 38. I got him. Like, that's an impossible task to ask. 44, they lost. 37, 37, 45, 51 given up in those losses in the playoffs. You lost last year, 37-20. It could have been worse, but 49ers took their foot off the gas, kept running the ball, and was still mowing the lawn. The thing with it is, I think in appearance, I think in perception, all they need is one more weapon. But if they really look at Aaron Rodgers' career, the Packers' issues in the playoffs, they just give up too many damn points.
So then,
defense.
Your issue isn't that the Packers don't need help. It's they don't need receiver help.
Look, I like this team. This team was 1 game away. If you find a way to be more stout on defense, you got something special there. But for all the attention to go towards Aaron Rodgers and the receiving crew versus looking at what's really holding them up, and it's been defensive. It's been run stopping. We could just look at it. And it's been a couple of hiccups. Look, they're supposed to stop somebody when they do an onside kick. In that situation, you're supposed to hold on to the ball, etc. But I think in large, man, everyone thinks the quick fix is the receiver position. But if you dive into the numbers, you dive into the details, and you even dive into the names that you're going to suggest that can come fix them, none of them is going to be the savior. None of them is the salvation.
Here's what I know. My conclusive thoughts are very simple.
Okay.
If you got something going good, go all in on what you got going good because you don't know when you're going to get it again. And then when I also look at it, the last 3 NFC Super Bowl representatives last year, for San Francisco 49ers, they made a trade for Emmanuel Sanders at the deadline. Year before, the Rams, they did what you want and made a defensive trade for Dante Fowler, former first-round pick. Remember, the Rams had a great defensive line, added another first-round pick. Year before, the Philadelphia Eagles, they still had LeGarrette Blount, still had Corey Clement at running back, but they made a trade for Jay Ajayi. The teams that were good realized good is the enemy of great.
Yeah.
Let me make up that difference between good and great. I think that's what the Packers have to do, make up that small difference.
I like all those moves except the Sanders move as much. Look, Emmanuel Sanders, when he got off the plane, he didn't even unpack his bags and balled that week 1. After that, he only averaged 35 yards receiving after that. And let's get into the details, partner.